everybody, this is Josh Runquist here for Heavy Debriefings, and I can't believe it, we're already talking about the top 10 albums of June 2023. This month was particularly hard. I had nearly 30 albums that made it into this list, and I had to narrow it down to 10, because that's what I do. Although that might be changing in 2024, but we'll see what happens with that. But for now, let's cover this in alphabetical order, the top 10 albums of June 2023. Up first is Among Ruins with Land of the Black Sun. This is the latest entry into the top 10. In fact, I just heard it tonight as I'm recording it, and I instantly had to put it on, as this is some of the finest melodeath you will hear in 2023. This is an absolute juggernaut of an album. It is so melodic, it is so filled with great melodeath moments, awesome production, killer vocals, amazing songwriting, everything that I love about melodeath. And you would think that an album of this quality would be deep in the heart of Finland. Well, it was mixed and mastered in Finland, but this is a Greek band, which isn't normally the first area that you think of when it comes to melodeath, but it is so reminiscent of that style, and I love it so much, although it has their nice own little nuances as well too. I mean, they get some brutal moments going on here, but it's placed with some of the most melodic moments that you're going to hear in this style in 2023, and it just works together seamlessly. If you've never checked out the band before, definitely check this album out. It's their third album, and it's easily their best. Next up, we have the Anchorette with the concept album, It All Began With Loneliness. This is brand new to me. This is the only album I've heard from the band. It could be their debut, it could be several more, I'm not entirely sure. But what I do know is this album is spectacular and one of the best prog albums of 2023. Whether you love anything from King Crimson, whether you love something like Between the Buried and Me, whether you love something like Fair to Midland, there is something here for you, because it goes from the most barren edges of extreme metal to more subdued prog rock. I mean, it's got everything from that classic 70s sound, 80s, 90s, and modern sound. And it's done with such nuance, and it's done so seamlessly. It just shocks me every time that I hear it. Yeah, seriously, I mean, no matter the kind of prog fan that you are, I mean, if you're looking for Vandergraaf Generator, you're going to find something here. If you're looking for Porcupine Tree, it's here. If you're looking for something even as new as an Abstract Illusion, you'll find something here to enjoy. Seriously, if you're looking for something that really describes the definition of what modern progressive metal can all be about, you need to check out the Anchorette, and you need to check out this spectacular concept album, It All Began With Loneliness. Next up, we got Fifth Angel with When Angels Kill. This concept album can be a little on the cheesy side. A lot of songs begin and end with an overall theme that some people will find a little tug-collaring, but for me, I love my cheese, and I think it fits so perfectly with the music. It is some of the most intense heavy metal, power metal that you're gonna hear in 2023. It's kind of got a cybernetic edge to it, and when you listen to the music, it makes a lot of sense why it sounds that way. But with that, it's got some fantastic production behind it. The musicianship is absolutely stellar, and when you look at who's in the band, it totally makes sense. The vocals are just so good. Everything about Fifth Angel rules. I'm so glad that they came back and have just been ruling ever since, and they've only gotten better. When Angels Kill might be their best album. I still need a little more time with it to really make that claim, but I think there is a good argument for it. This thing is incredible, and if you want some truly heavy power metal, this is the band and the album for you. Next up, we have the debut album from Max Enix with Far From Home. It's a double disc concept album, and this is the literal definition of someone who listens to everything. Everything rock, everything prog, everything metal. It's all in here. Whether you want rap, whether you want blast beats, if you want power metal, prog, death metal, symphonic metal, power metal, it's all in here. And it is a complete smorgasbord of epic proportions. And it has so many guest stars on here, from Toby Driver to Dan Swano. Like, everyone is a part of this in some way, shape, or form if you're of a certain type of music. It's just absolutely insane, all the people that are a part of this. Of course, the impeccable Vikram Shankar is also doing some amazing orchestrations and arrangements on this album. But of course, Max Enix wrote a majority of the album, if not the whole thing, with arrangements by Vikram Shankar. It's incredible what has been accomplished here. And some of it flows together so well. Some of it turns on the turn of a dime, and it will throw you for a loop, but that is done intentionally. Now, this is an enduring process here. It is a double album, and if you get a special version of it, it's a triple album as it's got some instrumentals attached to it. This is over 2 hours long. It is a monolith of an album to get through. But if you are of a particular style, you will find something to enjoy with this. Seriously, if you say that you love everything, or if you know someone who says that they love everything, test them with this album. See if it works. Up next is Obsolete Theory with Doomlights, and I really love this album. They started off as a death and roll band and now have become blackened death metal over time, and this is the sound that suits them more perfectly. They got fantastic production, they got killer vocals, they got amazing songwriting here, and especially with blackened death metal, when it is just there's so much of it can sound non-inspired. This is some of the more inspiring stuff that I've heard in the genre in quite some time. And it's not from just one of the bigger bands like Behemoth or Belphegor. This is a newer band that really knows what to do, taking a different style and really making it their own. And if you want some really truly inspired black and death metal, this is a band that you need to check out. Up next is the sophomore solo album from Ray Alder with 2. And this is a very unfortunate album. I say that because when I interviewed Ray Alder for the first solo album, he told me he really did not want to make a second solo album as he wanted a new Fates Warning album. Unfortunately, new Fates Warning will not be coming out. That part of the band is apparently over, and they are becoming a nostalgia act, whether they wanted to or not, unfortunately. So Ray Alder still has passion for creating new music, and that's where 2 came from. And wow, is this album inspired. Taking everything that he learned from the first album and being able to capitalize it, refine it, and be able to spread a little more wings on this album. It just shows everything that Ray Alder is capable of in 2023, and it's done impeccably. Every song just gets better than the next one on here. Seriously, like, the final song on the album is my favorite song off the album. It's just, everything on here is just what I want Ray Alder to do. Unfortunately, these songs could work so perfectly under the Fates Warning moniker, but that's not going to happen. But with Ray Alder, I can't wait to see what he does next, and I hope he continues this on, because if this is what he's doing now, and now knowing that Fates Warning is done making new music, I want to see those creative juices continue to flow through his solo work. Up next is Saturnus with The Storm Within, the band's 5th album and first one in 11 years. They're the definition of a band that really shows off quality rather than quantity. They record only when they're inspired to, and, you know, it's rough when you are a fan, but when they do put out new music, it's just fantastic. And this is no different. Of course, with a name like The Storm Within, you can tell what the music is all about. It is dark, it is doomy, it is full of self-reflection, and the music is just fantastic. I love everything that's going on with this album. Absolutely solid and pure death doom with the right amount of melodic doom attached to it. One of the first bands to really nail this style so perfectly, and I'm so glad that they're back. And it sounds like they never left. Of course, you know, they go into hibernation and then come out, and when they do, it is a spectacle. This really is one of the best Doom albums of 2023 for that funeral doom, melodic doom, death doom style. And if you're looking for something like that, and you know that I am, you definitely need to check out Saturnus if you haven't already. And there's no better album to be able to start off with than their brand new album, The Storm Within. Up next is Saturnus with The Storm Within, the band's fifth album and first one in 11 years. They're the definition of a band that really shows off quality rather than quantity. They record only when they're inspired to, and, it's rough when you are a fan, but when they do put out new music, it's just fantastic. And this is no different. Of course, with a name like The Storm Within, you can tell what the music is all about. It is dark, it is doomy, it is full of self-reflection, and the music is just fantastic. I love everything that's going on with this album. Absolutely solid and pure death doom with the right amount of melodic doom attached to it. One of the first bands to really nail this style so perfectly, and I'm so glad that they're back. And it sounds like they never left. Of course, they go into hibernation and then come out, and when they do, it is a spectacle. This really is one of the best Doom albums of 2023 for that funeral doom, melodic doom, death doom style. And if you're looking for something like that, and you know that I am, you definitely need to check out Saturnus if you haven't already. And there's no better album to be able to start off with than their brand new album, The Storm Within. In speaking of long waits, but welcome returns, it is Symmetry with their second album in their trilogy, The Singularity Phase 2, Xenotaph. And this is what I was hoping from the band. It feels like a return to form, even though these songs are 9 years old. It is so great to see the touches that came through here, and I'm so excited to see what the band is going to do next. If you're familiar with Phase 1, it is much more melodic and progressive. With Phase 2, it is much more hard-hitting. It starts off with blast beats. It's a great concept album, but it is so heavy. And it's got the great melodic parts in just the right spots. And so much of it is so catchy as well. When it's not brutal, it's catchy. And that's how I like my Symmetry to be. Of course, no one does the Swedish progressive melodeath like Symmetry. And now that they're back in full force, I can't wait to see what's coming up next. I got to talk to Per Nielsen, and he says that either Phase 3 is possible, or they might just do another new album, as it's been 9 years and they're inspired to write something different before they go into Phase 3. Regardless, this album is one of the better progressive melodic death metal albums that you're going to hear in 2023, despite what you might have heard otherwise if you check out other YouTube people checking out metal. Seriously, give this album a shot and see if it's for you. Up now is Subterranean Disposition with Individualism, and this is a mind-blowing album. It is very much in the death doom style, but they incorporate so much avant-garde quirkiness to it that it feels so different than what you would imagine. It feels like a film noir, but death doom. Like, it's got the organs, Hammond organs, I'm pretty sure, or at least the patches for it if they're doing synth work. They got saxophone. They take some weird left-of-center turns that you would not expect, but it's still very much death doom. Seriously, it feels like a 30s horror noir soundtrack, and I think that is such a cool way to be able to go about this. And it's another album where the production is so good, so well balanced. The musicianship is just astounding for what they're able to accomplish here. And yeah, it might judder you a little bit on the first listen, but the more that you listen to it, the more everything starts to sink in and everything starts to make sense. Seriously, if you're looking for something much different in the death doom style, but still sounding like death doom, Subterranean Disposition is a band that you need to check out immediately. And finally, we have Vulture Industries with their fifth album, Ghosts from the Past. And this album is a bit different if you're not familiar with Vulture Industries. It's very much layered in progressive metal, but it is so much more layered in that gothic post-punk sound. It's a clash of both of them, and more of the prog is a little more of the avant-garde progressive side, which I really think benefits the band. Like, if you love that 80s goth sound, like the early days of the Cult or Joy Division, maybe even The Cure, kinda. If you want something a little more quirky, if you want something a little more horror-based, and you want something a little more left of center, Vulture Industries is that band for you. With incredible live shows that they do, especially when I talk to their singer and talking about all the antics that they do on stage, it makes for a really fun time. But also with that, it's just like the music has that throwback sound to it, but it sounds modern enough, which I think is a great mix. And again, just the songs are not what you expect, especially if you're not familiar with this. Like, you'll hear saxophone, you'll hear trumpet, you'll hear things that might be a little too quirky for you, but seriously, give it a chance. This is some stuff that's really worth checking out, and Vulture Industries is definitely one of those bands that really need to shine through the darkness. And, if you think this might be for you, if you like that gothic post-punk sound, and you want it more in the avant-garde left-of-center style, Vulture Industries is a band you need to check out. And there you go, folks, my top 10 albums of June 2023. And like I said in the beginning, I had about 30 albums that made the list that I had to cut down to 10. So tell me what albums I missed, or if you made any new discoveries from this list, or if you just want to give me crap for my own personal opinion, all of it down below. And of course, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. I'm getting ever so close to 1,000 subscribers, and after, since having the YouTube channel since 2009 and been that drummer guy since 2011 and now Heavy Debriefings since last year, I would really like to hit 1,000, so let's make that happen. Let's finally get some of that natural reach that I really need. And again, thank you so very much if you made it this far into the video, and until the next video, for Heavy Debriefings, this is Josh Runquist saying, see ya.